How do you put philosophy into practice? Where does it all start? As a practitioner, as a clinician, you're probably asking these questions. A resonant philosophy of health, that's a pretty big concept. Let me tell you that we like to start at the most simple element of the body, the cell itself. And where do you want to start? The cell membrane. All of life's pivotal processes happen or occur at the cell membrane. It's a fluid system that, if undernourished, is a prison. It's a gridlock. It constrains the adaptability of the body itself. And it's the single most simple unit that you can focus your practice on. The fluid mosaic theory was proposed in 1972. And that theory, though maybe underlooked or maybe something that you remember from your biological text or biological classes back in university, it's underutilized, under-conceptualized. We as clinicians want to focus on the functional markers. We want to look at our dashboard and look at the inputs and the outputs of the client. However, the cell membrane, when undernourished, can cry out silently, leading to a metabolic state, a metabolic dysfunction that doesn't necessarily appear on the functional markers itself. The omega-3 index wasn't even widely used until recently, except that, and I challenge you, that may be the most important clinical marker that you could use in your practice today. How do you impact the fluid mosaic and the dynamics of that cell membrane itself? Well, it starts with whole foods. It starts with creating an environment where the cell membrane itself is nourished to a state of pliability, adaptability, allowing the body to flux, to change, to essentially be pliable to any of the circumstances that may present itself in any given moment. The cell membrane and all the pivotal life processes that happen or occur around it, it needs to be radiantly nourished. Whole food creates an environment so that it can adapt in the way that it needs to. And then we have to look at fatty acids, triglycerides, which were demonized for 50 plus years until only recently, when essentially society understood that fat, one of the most crucial elements to the body. And why? Well, within each cell there's that cell membrane, which has that phospholipid bilayer, which is comprised of fatty acids. The nutrient status, in terms of the fat composition of the body, ultimately decides how the body is going to react in any given moment. And that comes from the cell membrane. Polyunsaturated fats, omega-3s, looking at supplemental whole food strategies that enrich the system to ensure that that nutrient status is present so that you have adaptability. If one cell is undernourished, if one cell is not in radiant health, it can propagate a chain of biochemical reactions, miscommunication, and dysfunction in the health and healing hierarchy potential of the body itself. We as clinicians need to be centered on cell health. Premier state supplemental strategies come into play when the whole food strategies and the fatty acid strategies of the diet and the lifestyle of the client do not meet the demands of the individual. Supplementing with compounds such as vitamin E, green tea, which aren't synthetic, which are whole food based, which have the triglyceride backbone in play, ensure that whether the lifestyle, the environment, the whole foods being provided to the individual aren't sufficient in supporting the cell membrane's adaptability. But only premier quality comes into play. If you have excipients, if you have adulterants, you have synthetic adjuncts, those strategies, at most, do no harm, and at worst, can potentially limit the vibrant and radiant health symphony, which is the body itself.